This is Flipping the Script Podcast, the soon-to-be #1 leadership podcast for purpose-driven leaders and great guest experts who give us a unique insight into what leadership looks like behind the scenes. I'm Shalia Stafford, your host, and I'm committed to helping you lead your challenges using leadership strategies to gain new perspectives, fuel your growth, and transform the way you execute on your success. Welcome back, everyone. It's Shalia here. It is 2023, and I couldn't be more excited than to be back with you. I do have to say that I have COVID as I am recording this episode, so my voice is not going to sound the most clear, but nonetheless, I could not take any more bed rest. So I am really thrilled to have this conversation with you because I've been thinking about it for quite some time. So today I'm excited to dive into the conversation about the power of creating the next chapter of your story and also what it looks like as we are evolving into that chapter. We're going to talk about the big picture and why it's important to continuously evolve our story using the right strategies as we integrate the rawness of what is the human experience while still being able to hold space for the magic of the adventure. I want to challenge you to get curious and explore your big picture, to create alignment between the story that you want to consciously create and the strategies that you use to get there. We're going to end today with an inspiring mantra for the year. So grab your cup of coffee, your tea, whatever your happy drink is, get comfy, and let's dive in. As human beings, we all have a story. A narrative that shapes our perception of the world and ourselves. But often our story is shaped by unconscious patterns, habits, and beliefs that limit us, hold us back, and makes us feel stuck. This is where I want leadership to come in. No, stop it. Whatever you thought in your head about leadership, that's not the way we're approaching it. I'm going to say this again. Traditionally, leadership is spoken about, engaged in, and taught in the context of our work. But leadership is personal. Leadership is about the adventure of our growth and the action and the stillness that we create to bring alignment and authenticity into our lives. It's not about a title or a position, but about the strategies that we use to create the most significant experience we will ever lead. Our story. Leading the Pinterest versus reality moments that come with our story is one of the most courageous adventures that we can go on. But it's not always sunshine and rainbows. The fact of the matter is that there are a lot of harsh realities to the human experience. It's raw, it's vulnerable, and it's full of twists and turns. And while there isn't one short answer that's going to lead us to the way, quote unquote, what I want to do is give you a big picture perspective of what it looks like to evolve your authentic story in 2023 as we experience a new chapter together, because you have never been here before. In 2023, at this age, with this experience, with these people in your life at this specific time. Life is constantly creating new experiences for us. And as we approach new experiences, we have to evolve our strategy and our story as we go along with it. So let's talk about the importance of understanding our authenticity. This is a word that often gets thrown out a lot. A quick Google search will tell us that authenticity means that you are true to your own personality, your values, and your spirit, regardless of the pressure that you may be under to act otherwise. It means that you can be honest with yourself and with others, and you're in alignment with who you are. But we don't always know who we are, do we? We're constantly discovering that. And in order to be authentic, we at times have to be inauthentic as we engage in new experiences that make us feel imposter syndrome because we've never been here before. We've never done this thing before. I've never had a podcast this long before. I don't necessarily know what the path unfolds, and I am going to be challenged to do new things that I haven't done before that may feel inauthentic, but I could still be true to what I do know, my story and my environment. Where do I find myself right now? What does my story need of me right now? Making sure that we are constantly auditing our story so that we can understand how to put it into place in our authenticity is vital to creating the next chapter of our evolvement. Let me give you a personal example of that. Today, I am the mother of a high school student, an elementary student. My husband and I are coming into a new chapter of entrepreneurship and understanding what that looks like. The authenticity of my story is the way that the rawness of this adventure is going to play out. There's going to be a lot of bumps in the road that we're going to face because of what we know to be true about what the past has ingrained, what the future demands, and what the present requires. Look, the reality is for us is that we are on the adventure to evolve and to create from a place where we started in breaking the generational cycle of poverty, neglect, and fixed mindsets. What that has meant for us has grown deeper and richer over the years in our journey of evolvement. But it means it's going to look a little different for us because what we value today looks so much more different than what we thought success would look like for us 15 years ago. And it's going to look different than what someone would define for us as entrepreneurs. And we know we have to stay in our lane that is authentic to where we are going and the experience that we want to have based on what we know we want and what we don't want. And we have to continuously remind ourselves of that. Now, are we great at that? Absolutely not. We can get trapped in the false signals of success and seeking validation in those false signals that can lead us away from our authentic selves. Now, we get better at reminding ourselves of what this looks like, noticing when we're there, bringing ourselves back home when we drift too far away from that. But the typical entrepreneur, when you jump into this journey, you are exposed to so many articles about entrepreneurs who started a company in 1 year and raised $10 million and they're on Forbes 100 list, and the identity in it looking a certain way can seep back into us, and it can allow these false signals of success to drive us away from our authentic self and deny our experience. And when those moments happen, we have to rely on our self-awareness to reconnect to what we know is true about our story and the values that we want to engage, and how we have to detach continuously from what the false signals of success can do to our authentic adventure. And it's very difficult. It's not an easy path, but it is meaningful at the end of the day. And we continuously have to reconnect to those values, to that story, while not denying the reality of our experiences and our environment and where we're going and what we know we want and what we know we absolutely do not want. So in order to understand the importance of the authenticity in this current chapter and evolve it, we have to make sure we understand and can audit the previous chapters of our lives and bring clarity from what is most important to us based on our lived experiences. Here's one thing that I know about my life, and this is a hard truth that I conceptualize based on my journey. Here's one thing that I know that is true about my journey. I don't want the best years of my life to pass me by while I am an autopilot or stuck in a fear survival state that I am unable to call myself out of. And therefore it puts me on this loop of time just passing by I want to self-actualize wherever my soul calls me to. And I want to do that in what is true to what I need. And so that means I have to be willing to face my ego, my insecurities, my doubts in a much more harsher way, so to speak. And that harsher way is nobody makes it out of this experience alive. And so I want to give it my all when I can, how I can. Because living authentically and being in alignment with our story, using the right strategy, will ultimately give us the experience of bringing our story to life through the behaviors, the feelings, the experiences that matter most to us, and being able to create an impact in the world. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the importance of understanding our authenticity. The next thing that I want to chat about is how we have to reflect on our stories so far up until this point so that we can better understand what that authenticity looks like for us. I want to encourage you guys to take a step back and reflect on what your journey has been so far. If you haven't already, I'm sure many of you probably have, but take a moment and audit your story and think about the themes that have driven your experiences through each of the evolving chapters of your life. This is a fantastic moment for you to reflect on what specifically happened. What was that defining moment that helped you shift into the next chapter of your life? Was that a value that you engaged? Or was that a fear that you had deep down that you didn't want to see actualized, that drove you to say, enough is enough here? I'm hearing the calling. I'm hearing the calling to evolve into the next adventure of my life. It comes in a variety of forms for us. There isn't a right or a wrong way. There just is a way. I want to give you a little prompt, a little exercise. You may have heard me do this with a lot of my guests who come on the podcast, but I want you to take this exercise and apply it to your journey to help you discover what those unique chapters were in your life. So if you had to take your life up until this point and divide it into 3 chapters, what would you name each chapter? Go wherever the creativity takes you with this. As you name each of those chapters, what's going to happen in your brain, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, deep down, you're going to start to go into your journey and incubate what mattered most to you, what drove you through each of those chapters. This gives you an opportunity to really delve into your self-awareness and ask questions about what you value, what's important to you, what drives you, and really help you understand more about these pivotal chapters and the themes that are driving your life, and give you some insight into the next chapter that may be coming. Take this opportunity to reflect on your experiences, the challenges that you've had, and the accomplishments that you've made, so that they can help you go into the next part of this journey. As you're looking to evolve your story, it's important that you also go into defining your values. Now, this is a very big one that I have, because values is another word, like many words that we throw around, and they can mean many things. But we have core values and we have surface level values. Our surface level values is what gets us interested in something with someone or something, right? So let's use a dating example. A surface level value might be that someone is nice, they are kind, or they fit whatever persona you have of someone that you may be interested in, enough to get you interested enough to say, yeah, let's learn more about you. As you get talking, though, you're going to learn some very important things that are going to connect deeper into your core values. Those are your non-negotiables. Those are things that are incredibly important in your life and that are typically a constant. In those previous chapters for us, we've learned quite a few things, and we know that investing in our family and making sure that we create a healthy foundation so that we can raise the next generation of conscious, yet imperfect, emotionally mature, securely attached human beings who can express their emotions, who are aware of them, can communicate through conflict in a constructive way. We are going to have to be home with our children, with our family, doing the work while we do the work. So this is a value that we have, that we hold together in our marriage for our family and for our children, and a mirror that was held back onto us, showing us the fragmented places where we still needed to do the work within ourselves to create this reality for our children and for our family and for our future. And look, this is our core value. Core values come with sacrifices and challenges. There is cost opportunity. We have missed out on many opportunities that could have propelled us financially further by taking this route. And we've also had to make some sacrifices in the way in which we live our life so that we can afford ourselves this opportunity with the vision in mind of what we want the next chapter to be and who we want to be in that chapter. I encourage you, as you look into your chapters of your story and you reflect on your own themes and values, to not just think about what you want to be doing in terms of your goals, but who you want to be, irregardless of whether you achieve the outcome of your goals. I want to encourage you to be patient and gentle with yourself as you navigate through this process, because it's so easy for us to look at where we're at and to know where we want to go, how we want to feel, how we want it to be, and see the gap. But remember, this is about the adventure, and the adventure challenges us to look at what is in front of us right now, regardless of not arriving to our destination. How do we want to feel and experience this moment right now, and with all of the challenges that it brings? Okay, so far I have given you 3 tips to explore how to evolve your story in 2023. The first was looking at understanding the importance of your authenticity. And I want to remind you here to reconnect with your values, your passions, and your purpose. The next one was to reflect on your story so far. If you were to break your story down up until this point into 3 chapters, what would they be? Use the prompt that I gave you to reflect on your experiences, your challenges, and your accomplishments to help give you an idea on what the big picture is for your next chapter. The third step was to define your values and to really look at the core values that you have. But I want you to be patient and gentle with yourself as you navigate this process again, because it's a roller coaster. Buckle up, make it worthwhile for your story. But more importantly, as we get into tip number 4, I want you to remember to take action to evolve your story. It's so easy for me, for us, for anyone to get into a stage of analysis, to thinking, and assessing what everything's going to look like. And there is a time and a place for all of this, and you should have it and you should take it. But then once we have done it, then it is time to take action and discover what are the behaviors that drive bringing your story to life. What are the small intentional steps that you can take towards creating your authentic life? Okay, let me give you an example. I value growth over comfort. And I knew for me, the next chapter was entrepreneurship. I'd spent some time looking at the previous chapters of my life and realizing that the calling to start this adventure was long there and overdue. But I knew that there was this comfort in the familiarity that I had in my role and my success, and the idea of doing something different, especially coming from my background and my lived experiences through poverty. A big part of your identity in breaking the cycle, a big part of my identity in breaking the cycle was to provide financially and create generational wealth. So to leave a secure path for the unknown was terrifying. However, when I look at my big picture and I look at and think about my 80-year-old self, would she be proud about this if she never took on this experience? And deep down inside of me, I know that I wouldn't be. So I knew that I had to take action on this. And that's where I began to do things that felt, or let me say this in a different way. I created a filter for myself for the experiences that I was going to have in the next chapter of my life. Knowing how I am, I would justify not doing something. And so knowing that there would come a time where the fear, doubt, and the uncertainty would cause me to either revert back to old ways or evolve to new ones, I created a filter for these experiences, a way for my brain to come up with a quick decision in contemplating choices so that my ego and my insecurities wouldn't take hold and then justify their ways and through this logical web of how it wouldn't make sense to do this new dangerous thing. And that for me was any and every experience that made me feel awkward, uncomfortable, made my heart beat, my palms sweat, but it served my growth, I was going to take it. That feeling inside of my body was my signal to take action and to do it, and then to deal with what would happen afterwards. If I turn red, if I mess up, if I get rejected, whatever it might be, my job was to deal with it after. And so in doing so, it led me to do some things that I thought I could never do, one of which was public speaking. Let me tell y'all, public speaking is not easy for me. It is something that I don't like to be front and center of stage, but I do love to connect with an audience, and I love to hear their stories and how the message landed on them and hearing something at the right time in their adventure. And I know it can make a difference in the lives of other people because I've seen it. In doing so, I had to take small intentional steps towards getting there so that I could create this authentic life. I had to be inauthentic. It didn't feel normal for me to do it, but it did align with my actions. It did align with my big picture. The importance for us in this stage of our journey is to celebrate those small victories and the fact that we get to even have a growth mindset in achieving and creating the story that we see possible for ourselves. Whether you step away from a job that you're doing that you don't love right now, or you decide to start a company now or in 5 years, right now, however it is that you're living, you get to choose how to create this adventure, and you get to live in the greatest experience that you will ever lead, your story. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worthwhile, and I want to help you make it count. Remember, navigating this process is so much like Pinterest versus reality. We have to continuously be the ones to call ourselves out and remind ourselves where home is inside and go deeper. The journey towards an authentic life and evolving and creating our story, it is never a one-time event, but an ongoing evolution. To our listeners, I see you. Remember, the universe conspires to bring you joy. This adventure is full of twists and turns. And I want to see you arrive to the place that brings you alignment, clarity, and joy as you navigate the complexities of your conscious success. The ball is in your court. I challenge you to take action. Continue to have the difficult conversations that go beyond the surface level to evolve and create your adventure. You are listening to Flipping the Script, Leadership Beyond the Title. We'll see you on our next episode. If you found even the smallest nugget of wisdom in this episode, share it with a friend and your friend will thank you. Let's continue the conversation with like-minded leaders and join us on Facebook at Go Flip the Script. Until next time, I challenge you to incorporate what you learned today to evolve your leadership impact.